Everybody.
Good morning.
It is a blessing to be back in Baltimore. I was saying to someone this morning, whenever I come into the, is this thing even on? Is it on?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I feel like, yeah, it says it's on, but test. No, I was saying to someone this morning, every time I come into the city, I want to get down on my knees and just kiss the ground, because any place that gives the world a range of folk from Billie Holiday to Thurgood Marshall is a place I hope the genius rubs off on me, and all of us should want some of that genius to rub off. You can produce Billie Holiday and Thurgood Marshall in the same town. This is a great city, so I'm always excited to be back in Baltimore. It's been quite a week. We were just in North Carolina, I guess, a week or so ago, and what we talked about in our presentation then about this political tsunami that was about to hit has hit, and there is, I think, a fascinating narrative that we're going to get into this morning about the connection of these dots politically, economically, socially, and culturally, given what happened earlier this week, and how the timing could not be more propitious for a conversation about how we wanted to navigate our way forward. I just returned a week or so ago from a trip to China, and for all the issues that we could debate, and certainly I spent 2 weeks in China debating these issues with the Chinese, for all these issues we could debate about China and its issue of human rights, etc. You get the sense as you move throughout the streets of China, from Beijing to Nanjing to Shanghai, you get the sense that here is a country where you can feel the optimism, you can feel the hope. They know that they are on the come up, particularly on this side of the Olympics. They're outpacing us in terms of growth, they're outpacing us in terms of manufacturing, they're outpacing us in terms of technology. In so many ways, they're outpacing us, and the people, the everyday people in the street, feel that. Contrast that, which I hope to talk about this morning, contrast that with the feeling that many Americans, I think, expressed this week. I'm not so sure this election was as much about anger. We kept hearing about the angry American voter. I'm not so sure this election was as much about anger as it is about fear. Americans are afraid. They are afraid that we're not on the right track. They're afraid their education system is failing. They are afraid for their own economic and financial futures. They are afraid that their kids will not have as good a life as they have had. Fear in this country, for me, is as palpable as hope and optimism are palpable as I walked around the streets of China. And that's something that we have to wrestle with. And so into that reality, into that breach, into that gap, steps comes this Nationwide On Your Side tour to talk about how we can tamp down the fear and remind people that we have been through worse and we survived, and these are difficult times, but it requires us taking stock of where we are, planning for those things that we know we want to do, because we know our lives are mostly affected by the things that we don't see coming at us and how we react to those. If you don't think Obama knows that or didn't know that, he knows it now. So much of this is not about what you campaigned on, what you wanted to do. It's about how you deal with the crises that you are faced with every single day. And it's not just true of Obama, it's true of every one of us as Americans. We have to deal with the situation that we find ourselves in, how we're going to advance forward with all of this stuff coming at us. But we have to do something, I think, to remind people that these are not times to be fearful, but times to be focused, times to plan, times to believe in that adage, as I do, that there is in fact a silver lining in every dark cloud. And on the other side of this, talk to the folks who survived the Great Depression, and you'll hear clearly the lessons they learned from surviving that ordeal. So we've got to learn some lessons here. So this tour has been a great opportunity for me, and I think for Nationwide, to get out, to talk to everyday people, to hear from everyday people in these workshops, but hopefully to try to raise the level of focus, and again, tone down the level of fear. But this week is a perfect time to be in a working class city like Baltimore. I'm excited to be here. So thank you.
At this time, we're going to open it up for questions. Before we do that, I do want to remind the meeting